Unleash the power of your training. Creating a training culture. Here is your host, Evan Hackle.
Imagine my surprise. I worked in businesses that fully embraced training, had an amazing culture of training. And in 2013, I decided to make an investment with my partner, Cordell Riley, and buy Tortal Training. And I got training. I got training in my heart. I believed in it. I saw what training could do. And I was so enthusiastic to own a training company where that gift of training could go to all these other companies. So I go to Cordell and I say, Cordell, who are the customers that we have where there's massive upside, where there's tremendous potential? So I go and I visit one of our customers. Now, this customer, and I'm not going to name their name for what will become very obvious reasons. This company is a $2 billion company and they sell food and they advertise a lot. And if I said the name, you would surely know it. Well, they had a division with 500 trucks that basically went to specialty food stores. So they went to convenience stores, and these truck drivers were really representatives of the company. They sold. They fought for shelf space. They fought for displays. They made sure the displays were right. And their goal was to maximize sales within these locations. Now, it's a $2 billion company, and we're speaking to the head of training. So very excited about that. How many people do you think they have in their training department? $2 billion company. I'm not talking about just this one little part. I'm talking about the whole company, covering manufacturing, covering every aspect of the company, human HR, et cetera. $2 billion company. One person, a head of training, that's it, whole company, head of training. So we're talking to the head of training about this one part of the company where we did an analysis and we determined that if we did proper training of the drivers so that they had better skills working with the owners of these convenient marts, that they could likely increase sales between 5 and 10%. So in 1 year, the contribution margin, that means the amount of money the company makes after the cost of goods and all the variable expenses, it was going to be about a $5 million contribution in 1 year. And over 5 years, which is the typical life of training, it was going to be worth $25 million to the company. So I'm sitting here thinking, this is going to be the easiest sale ever, because the opportunity is so large and the cost against the opportunity is so minimal. So what do you think the result was? I mean, I think you all know, because leading up to it, the result was no sale. It wasn't just no sale. It was worse than no sale. And I know what you're thinking, how could it be worse than no sale? A month after meeting him, the only person in the training department for this $2 billion company, the only person, was let go. They had no training department. They were going to drive sales through marketing, which is millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. Here's the thing. Companies don't value training. They don't. And we're here at a learning summit. We're here, and I know I'm speaking to training enthusiasts that get the power of training. But a lot of companies don't. It's the first department that gets cut. We're going to, business is bad. Let's cut out the training department. Let's downsize. When training is like an afterthought. Oh, we're going to do something, blah, blah, blah. No. Oh, how do we roll out the program? How do we educate our people? No thought to training. The name of this conference is Training Unleashed. It is also the name of our podcast, trainingunleashed.net. It's also the name of our book club, Training Unleashed. And the purpose of the name Training Unleashed is the idea is that if you take training and you do it right, you have exponential impact on companies. You improve processes, you improve margins, you improve closing rates, you improve retention of employees. And I can't say that enough. With new generations, people want to be trained. They leave companies that don't train. It helps you recruit employees. The impact of training is amazing. Yet, people don't value it. And that is what this presentation is all about, is how do we change that paradigm? How do we make it so people get it? Peter Senge, who wrote the book, The Fifth Discipline, has a great quote. And I'm going to put the quote in the chat because it's probably one you're going to want to copy and save. The only sustainable competitive advantage an organization is an organization's ability to learn faster than its competitor. And I really believe this is true. And organizations that live, breathe training outperform organizations that don't. So how do we change the world and make the world embrace training? The answer is different than you think. The answer is actually surprising. When I come back at the end, do part 2 of this 2-part keynote, I'm going to share with you how you, and I mean literally you, can impact your organization and change the culture of your company to one that fully embraces training. Now, I want to shift back to the company that I talked about that I came from. I joined that company in 1988. I was the 5th employee at that company. I started the company's training department. I started a lot of things at that company. When I left the company 20 years later, the company's system-wide sales had gone from being virtually nothing to $10 billion. It had grown over 20 years at an average compounded growth rate of 29%. And the key reason was training. When you surveyed employees, not employees, if you surveyed employees, franchisees, co-op members, the number one thing that people liked was training. What attributed to your company? It was training. When we looked at the company and we looked at the results, we were able to have 8 to 10% higher margin rates than our average competitors. We were able to have higher average tickets, higher close rates because we were training. Companies would come to us for innovation because we could execute. When I was with the company, we launched a brand of carpet with proprietary 3M stain protection, with a 25-year stain warranty that no one else had in the world. And we had proprietarily because they believed we could actually sell it. Because when you can execute, people come to you for innovation. The issue we have is culture. It's thinking about breathing and getting and understanding the value of training. I look forward to seeing you for part 2, where I share with you the secret of creating culture, something that each and every one of us can make happen. Where did we leave off on the story I was just telling? Well, if you remember, I told the story about this large $2 billion company that had one person running their training department, and they had massive opportunity for improvement, but they didn't value training. They did not unleash training, and they actually went down to no one. They fired their training person. Clearly not a company with culture of training. We talked about Training Unleashed, the concept that most companies don't invest in training, that training is the first department that companies choose to cut back on or get rid of, and that people don't think about training proactively when they roll out products. I want to take a second here because I'm going to unveil to you how you can create a training culture. And and how you do this, by the way, is probably different than you're thinking. And a lot of people, when they think about if you're going to be successful with training culture, it has to start at the top. And I'm actually going to tell you there's a different place it starts. And I'll get into that in a second. But I want to just ground us on the impact of training. And if you didn't come to my session on ROI, I really encourage you, when we send out the notices, to watch it, because the financial impact is amazing. But I want to just talk for a second about a program that I launched many years ago called Installation Excellence. And this was a customer service, customer satisfaction training program around carpet installation. So at the time, there was a major issue in the carpet industry. You couldn't find good quality installers. I think they still have the problem today. And that there were real issues around people being upset and getting a lot of callbacks on their installations. So we did a pre-survey prior to rolling out this program, and we found out that 13% of our customers, that's 13%, is a big number, said they would never buy from us again. That's how unhappy they were. And we had difficulty finding good quality installers. So we developed a training program that was training not only the carpet installers, but training the people in the stores, the salespeople, to properly set expectations with the customer. We actually created a checklist to review with a customer before every sale. We defined a code of conduct within the home about taking off your shoes, not parking your car in their driveway so you wouldn't have oil leaks. And we were actually able to take that percentage from 13% down to 0.5%. In addition to that, we were able to take the amount of chargebacks way down. And furthermore, installers so loved working at our stores that our stores actually had wait lists of installers wanting to come to work for the business, because they wanted to work for a company where installation was so highly valued and people cared. So the point I'm making is that training can have an amazingly profound effect on businesses. I wholeheartedly believe it. But the question is, how do you create that culture within your organization? Some organizations have a culture of training. Most organizations, unfortunately, don't. I do a lot of public speaking, and the number one question that people ask me is, okay, I get what you're talking about, Evan. I totally get it. But how do I get it when management doesn't get it? What do I do? How do I get management to buy in and support the training department the way it should be supported? And my answer to all of you is, it doesn't start with management. It starts literally with you. You need to create the change within your organization. You need to have a powerful vision of how training can impact your company. If you have a powerful vision and you are passionate about training, then you will be able to transform the organization by you working within the organization to make the change. Now, I'm going to give you an analogy that you're probably going to find odd, because it's a boxing analogy, but it really makes sense. So most of you are younger than me, and probably most of you have never heard of this fighter by the name of Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier was world heavyweight champion of the world. He actually beat Muhammad Ali one time. They had 3 different bouts. They were epic. The thing about Joe Frazier was, he wasn't the biggest boxer. He wasn't the strongest boxer. But I think from my experience, he was perhaps the smartest boxer. And what Joe Frazier knew is that if you attack the body of the other boxer, where most boxers are swinging for a knockout right away, if you attack the body and you pound the body, when you go for that knockout punch, it's easy. Because when the body is weak, it can't move, it can't adjust. And that was his secret. And I want to tell you that I believe that needs to be your secret. So let me take this now into the practical world. So you're sitting there and you're looking at your role in the company. And I'm assuming that most of you are here and you have a training role, or maybe your company doesn't have a training department, but you believe in training. Is you need to create a powerful vision and you need to enroll the company into that powerful vision. But you don't start at the top. You start with the body, the main part of the organization. Like Joe Frazier, win over the company, and then management will follow. This is the reverse of what people talk about, but it is immensely powerful. So I'm talking about having a powerful vision of what training will do. And you need to have a powerful vision of what training will do, because to enroll people into the power of training, they must see what you see on how training could have a positive impact in the company. If I go back to the Installation Excellence Training Program that I helped develop, it's a good example of rallying the company around the idea so that everybody was united, so management would easily support and buy into the idea. So the best way to enroll people into an idea is actually the best way to create your vision. So when I sit here and say you need to create a vision, there are several ways you can do it. You can, take some pieces of paper. I got notes right here, and make a note. Well, we could do training and we could improve things by doing this, and we could improve things by doing this, and we could improve things by doing, oh, that's a really good idea. And I could just go create my own vision and go, hey guys, here it is. Here's the vision, sign up. But that's not the powerful way to create a vision. I believe in a concept called engagement. I spell it with an I for involvement. So what I would recommend that you do is to start to talk to people within your organization and ask them, how would you use training to improve your department? What would training do for you? What are your ideas? And don't just talk to managers, talk to the actual people, the real world people that actually did it. It was interesting when we did Training Unleashed, it was the assumption of managers that the problem was all with carpet installers. The installers were bad. They did not know how to install carpet properly. But what we found out was it was the exact and total opposite. What the problem was the salespeople were overinflating what was going to happen in the home and not giving people reasonable expectations. So a simple example of this is when you roll out carpet and you get to the end of the roll, there's going to be a crimp. And it's going to take a week or so for that crimp to lay down. So if you don't tell the customer this, and the customer comes home and they see their brand new carpet, but they see a crimp generally by a wall, they get upset. They think their carpet is defective. I'm telling you, millions, if not billions of dollars of carpeting has been replaced because no one properly explained what the crimp is. But if the carpet installer walks the customer around, first off, if the salespeople tell people that there could be crimping, and then the carpet installer walks around and points to the crimping and said, look at, this will be gone in 2 weeks. It is a natural phenomenon. But here's the thing, understand, we could have avoided this by overselling you your floor covering. Because if we had sold you just a little bit more, we could have bought enough carpet for you not to have the crimp, but you would have had to pay a lot of money for it. So you should be appreciative that your salesperson cared enough to save you the money. And I know I'm getting into detail here, but here's the point. Until we talked to the floor covering installers, we did not know about the issues of overstatement. We did not know about the issue with crimping, and that crimping was an issue on almost every job. We had no idea because we were in our bubble. You need to get out of your bubble, and you need to talk to different people, and then from that, create your vision. And when you create your vision, don't just create what you want to see done, think about the benefits. So once you start building this case where you're talking to people and getting ideas, you want to talk to people about how will this impact business? Will it reduce safety issues? Will it reduce mistakes? Will it increase sales? Will it retain more employees? And understand the economic benefits, because when you go to management with this idea, with your vision, you need to present the benefits of what's in it for the company. Why should the company take the time? And if you can, you want to take those benefits and you want to measure it and give them an economic return. As I mentioned earlier, I did a session on ROI. I would highly recommend it, but training absolutely can be measured. And it's very important that you measure results so that people can so you can reinforce the importance of training within the entire organization. So when you are working with everyone in the organization and you're asking and you're curious and you're working on your vision, you are creating a whole inertia of people that are going to support you. Many times you will find that management will learn about these conversations from other people who will be inspired by the conversation that you have. And just like Joe Frazier, you're going to be winning the battle by beating the body so that management, the head, becomes easy to convince because you have enrolled the organization in your vision of change and how you can make a difference. I know for some of you, you're saying, well, that's really easy. I don't know if that's my job or that's my role. What I would say to you is if you want to be successful in life, you need to look past where you are and shift to where you're going. You want to look at what you're capable of being. One of the things for me in life is always having a powerful vision of what I want to accomplish, no matter what part of my life it is, and declaring where I am going to go and enrolling other people into that vision. The power of having these engaged conversations with people, listening, talking to the people in the real world is going to change your company. It's also going to change you. You are going to start to see how powerful you are and how it's literally possible for you to accomplish anything if you put your mind to it and you come from a powerful vision and you enroll people. I hope this presentation has inspired you. I hope that you're willing to go back and decide that you want to take your effort in training to the next level, that you want to have that powerful vision, that you want to be curious, you want to enroll people in your vision, you want to enroll management, and not sit back and say, there's nothing I can do because management doesn't believe. Because the reality is you have it within you to be the change and to make that change happen in your company.